Katie here with Qkids. Today I'm going over the final part of the hiring process, and that is trial classes. If you are at the trial classes stage, that means that you have passed demo interviews 1 and 2, and you now get to teach actual students. So your trial classes will be given to you usually about 1 to 2 lessons per day for about a week. They'll space them out every other day or so. In between those trial classes, you're going to be given feedback, and Qkids expects you to utilize that feedback into your next classes. Don't take this as any sort of negative thing against you. It's just constructive criticism to help you pass and to help you be a better teacher. So first, I want to talk about how many trial classes to expect. I get asked this a lot. There's really no magic number. You can be given anywhere from 1 to 2 trial classes and be hired, or you can be given 5 to 8 trial classes and be hired. It really just depends on who your trainer is, how your classes have been going, and what they want to see more of. That being said, let's go over some tips. So the first thing you want to do when you're given your trial classes is to prepare. Practice your trial classes. You can go into your class before it starts. I recommend about an hour before it starts, and review the material so you know what to expect for your classes. Now, the only thing that I want to forewarn you about is if you notice that you have no students signed up for that class, there is a possibility that that lesson will change to a different lesson, which means you will probably have to improvise. So be prepared to improvise if you need to. Next, make sure that when time comes for that class to start, you enter class between 3 and 4 minutes before it starts. So after you've entered the class, you're going to be in your welcome slide. Make sure during your trial classes you have some ideas of what to talk about with your students during the welcome slide. For the younger kids, ask basic questions. What's your name? How old are you? What's your favorite color? Very simple and basic for the little kids, 4, 5, 6 years old. When they start to get a little bit older, and you can tell when you're in that class that they can understand a little bit more, get into more depth with your questions. Ask things like, what do you like to do for fun? What's your favorite food? Do you play any sports? Have you gone on vacation for summer? You'll be able to gauge what level your student is at, what level of understanding they're at by asking these questions before class. And it gives you an opportunity to know them and them an opportunity to know you. Once you get to that point where it says class begins, don't worry if you're not entering class as soon as it says class begins. That's okay. If you go a few seconds over, that's totally fine. Don't enter class before it says that though, okay? When you're in class, you want to make sure that you are timing your slides right. Now, if you have about 9 to 11 slides. A lot of classes are about 9 to 11 slides. You want to spend about 3 minutes on each slide before you move on. Gauge from there. So if you have less, obviously take a little bit more time on those slides. If you have more than 9 to 11 slides, then you want to cut those a little bit shorter, which can be tricky, but I promise the more you do it, the easier it will get. So timing is really important. Timing is probably one of the trickiest things for new teachers to grasp, but I promise you will pick it up the more you do it. That being said, what if I'm in class and I get to the end slide at 20 minutes in my 30-minute class? That's okay. What I recommend you do is hold off on the quiz. There's usually a quiz at the end of the class. Hold off on the quiz and go back to either play a game, try to keep note of where your slides were. Go back to either play a game, or if your students are struggling, go back to review your words, where you go back to learn those new words over again and practice with the new words. Spend a few minutes going back through 1 or 2 slides, and that's okay. You want to get to that quiz at about 26 minutes. Finish up your quiz, go to the summary, and once you're done with the summary at 28 minutes, you can go into your leaderboard and spend 2 minutes there congratulating, giving stickers. I usually pull all of my students back on screen, 2 at a time. You'll notice you can only bring 2 up at once. That's okay. I just let them know, don't worry, so-and-so, so-and-so, I'll bring you up next. Congratulate them and say bye. If you're moving too slow and you're finding yourself having to catch up to make it in time, it's okay if you absolutely have to skip a slide. try to make it the summary slide at the very end. Skipping slides is obviously not preferred. Qkids wants you to go through all of your slides, but when we're starting out, sometimes our timing just isn't there and we have to. So never skip the quiz, never skip the test at the end. And if you have to, skip the summary. You shouldn't need to skip more than that. Just try to pick up your pace as you're going. So the last final thing that I will recommend to help you pass your trial classes is to use a lot of TPR, facial expressions, and energy, enthusiasm. You want to make sure that you're using TPR, those hand gestures. When I want my students to repeat or say something, I'm going to point, repeat, say. When I want to hear them talk, I'm going to cut my ear so that they know I want to hear you talk. There's a lot of different things that we can do. There's also a TPR video that I have. I will put the link down below if you're interested in that. Facial expressions. If you watch me, you know I probably do a lot of facial expressions. And energy, have a lot of energy. I know that it's gonna be like 6 a.m., probably wherever you are. If you're not a morning person, it may be tough to get used to showing so much energy in the morning, but put all of your energy out there that you can for these trial classes. Qkids wants to see that you have enthusiasm for teaching and that you can show your students that you're having fun, because that helps them have fun too. So that's all I have for you right now for trial classes. If you are there, congratulations. If you have any questions, please put them below in the comments. You can message me on Instagram at qkids.katie, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Happy teaching!